Peter's Redemption, the Tale of Second Chances. The dawn was breaking over the Sea of Galilee, painting the horizon with the strokes of pink and gold. Waves lapped gently against the shore, whispering secrets to the sand. On this serene morning, 7 men sat by the water's edge, their faces illuminated by the flickering light of a fire. Among them was Peter, the once bold fisherman, whose heart now carried the weight of regret and longing. Peter gazed into the flames, memories of the past few weeks swirling in his mind like the embers dancing upward. The roar of the crowd, the crackle of the fire in the high priest's courtyard, and his own voice, denying the man he had sworn to follow, echoed painfully in his ears. "I don't know the man," he had cried, not once, but thrice, and with each denial, a part of him had shattered. The risen Jesus had appeared to them twice since that dark night, but Peter had yet to find the courage to seek forgiveness, to ask for the second chance his heart so desperately needed. Now, as he stared into the fire, he wondered if he was worthy of such grace. It was then that a familiar figure approached the group. Jesus, the teacher, the miracle worker, the friend, stood before them. He smiled, the kind of smile that seemed to lift the burdens of the soul. "Come and have breakfast," he said, breaking the silence. There was something comforting, almost homey, about the simplicity of the invitation. The disciples shared a meal of fish and bread, and for a while, the worries of the world seemed to melt away. They laughed and talked, but Peter remained quiet, his thoughts a storm within. He caught Jesus' eye, and the gentle understanding in his gaze gave Peter a flicker of hope. After breakfast, Jesus stood and walked a short distance along the shoreline. Peter's heart raced as he watched him go, and then, almost as if pulled by an invisible thread, he followed. The 2 men walked side by side, the sound of their footsteps mingling with the rhythmic ebb and flow of the waves. Jesus stopped and turned to Peter, his eyes searching, seeing beyond the facade to the turmoil within. "Simon, son of John," he said, using Peter's given name, a name that felt both comforting and convicting. "Do you love me more than these?" Peter's heart ached with the weight of the question. He remembered the boastful claims he had made, swearing his undying loyalty, even if all others fell away. Now, stripped of his bravado, he looked into Jesus' eyes and spoke with a newfound humility. "Yes, Lord," he replied, his voice steady but soft. "You know that I love you." Jesus nodded, a small smile playing at the corners of his lips. "Feed my lambs," he said, the simple command carrying a profound promise of trust. They walked a bit further, the silence between them filled with the unspoken understanding that comes only through shared pain and love. Then Jesus asked again, "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter felt the question pierce deeper, reaching into the depths of his soul. "Yes, Lord," he said, his voice firmer this time. "You know that I love you." "Tend my sheep," Jesus instructed, each word a balm to Peter's wounded spirit. For the 3rd time, Jesus spoke. "Simon, son of John, do you love me?" Peter's heart broke open. The threefold question mirrored his 3 denials, and he knew that this was no coincidence. Tears welled in his eyes as he answered, "Lord, you know everything. You know that I love you." Jesus' gaze was tender, filled with a love that surpassed all understanding. "Feed my sheep," he said, and in that moment, Peter felt the chains of his guilt and shame fall away. Jesus had not only forgiven him, but had also entrusted him with the care of his flock. He was redeemed, restored, given a second chance to live out his calling. The 2 men continued their walk, the weight of the past lifting with each step. Jesus spoke of the future, of the challenges and sacrifices that lay ahead. But Peter, renewed and resolute, felt ready to face whatever came. For he knew now that even in his failures, he was loved, forgiven, and given purpose. As they reached the others, Peter's heart was light. He looked at his fellow disciples, knowing that they, too, had their own struggles and doubts. And he realized that their journey together was one of shared grace, each step marked by the boundless love of their risen Lord. In the days and years to come, Peter would face trials, persecutions, and even death, but he would do so with the unwavering knowledge that he was forgiven and loved beyond measure. His story, a testament to the power of second chances, would inspire countless others to find hope and redemption in their own lives. Reflections on Forgiveness and Redemption. Peter's story is one of the most profound tales of forgiveness and second chances in the Bible. It teaches us that no failure is too great to be redeemed by love. We all have moments of weakness, times when we fall short of who we want to be. But Peter's journey from denial to restoration reminds us that our past does not define our future. With humility and a sincere heart, we can find forgiveness and a renewed sense of purpose. Jesus' gentle yet probing questions to Peter reveal the depth of his understanding and the boundless nature of his grace. Each question, each command to tend and feed his flock, was a step in Peter's healing process, a reaffirmation of his worth and his role in the unfolding story of the early church. As we reflect on Peter's redemption, let us remember that forgiveness is not just about absolving guilt, but also about restoring relationships and renewing our sense of purpose. We are all given second chances, opportunities to learn from our mistakes and to grow in love and faith. Peter's story encourages us to embrace these moments, to seek forgiveness when we falter, and to extend the same grace to others. In doing so, we can overcome the challenges we face and become beacons of hope and redemption in a world in need of light. A light-hearted take. Now let's not forget that Peter, for all his earnestness, was a bit of a character. Imagine him grizzled and slightly sheepish standing on that shore. Jesus, with a twinkle in his eye, asks the first question. Peter, perhaps scratching his head, thinks, "Here we go again. I know this tone." By the third question, you can almost see Peter's thoughts. "Really, Lord? 3 times? Are you pulling my leg?" But Jesus, ever the compassionate teacher, wasn't just making a point. He was giving Peter the gift of redemption, wrapped in the familiar packaging of a gentle ribbing, a reminder that even in our most serious moments, there's room for grace and a bit of humor. So next time you find yourself pondering your own missteps, remember Peter, the fisherman, the denier, the rock upon which the church was built. His story is our story, a tale of forgiveness, second chances, and the unyielding love that binds us all. And who knows, maybe the next time you're sitting by a fire, staring into the flames, you'll hear that same gentle voice asking, "Do you love me?" And with a heart full of hope, you can answer, "Yes, Lord, you know that I do." Conclusion. Peter's redemption is a powerful reminder that we are all capable of rising above our failures. His journey from denial to being the rock upon which the church was built serves as an inspiring testament to the power of forgiveness and the importance of second chances. As you watch this story unfold, let it encourage you to seek forgiveness, embrace second chances, and move forward with renewed purpose and faith. Remember, no matter how many times we falter, we are always given the opportunity to rise again, stronger and more committed than before. This retelling of Peter's story is not just a historical account, it's a living, breathing narrative that speaks to each of us in our moments of doubt and regret. It's a story that says you are forgiven, you are loved, you have a purpose. And that, dear friends, is the heart of what it means to be an overcomer.